Hey guys, what's going on? 845 Sports Cars coming back out of New York's Hudson Valley once again. And today I'm going to talk about the Philly show. So this past weekend, I took the drive down to Philadelphia from the Hudson Valley. White Plains is coming up the 22nd, but the Philly show, I was told, is really heavy on vintage. A buddy of mine was down there on Friday, and he said it was loaded with vintage. Sent me a bunch of screenshots of some of the dealers' tables, and it looked pretty exciting, so figured I'd take the drive down on Saturday. Left the house early, took the long drive down there. I got in line about, doors open at 9. I got there about 8:45. Found the parking spot, got in line. Very efficient. The facility was at, it was like a pet expo next door in a different hall. But this expo center was actually very organized, very neat. $20 at the door. Got a wristband, waited in line. And the line moved pretty quickly, and I found it was very organized. So that's really nice to see. There was a lot of vintage, and one really nice thing that I saw was that the Pokemon and TCG was in one section, the modern stuff was in a different section, and the vintage was all kind of bulked up in one section, kind of where the front door was. So it was really easy to locate what you were looking for. My strategy was go up and down every single aisle, look at everything once, give a quick once over, and I print that out a map. So this is actually a good idea for you guys. If you ever go to a big show like the National, Philly show, Dallas show, the West Coast Card show, bring a paper map. In case there's no Wi-Fi, your battery dies, bring a paper map with a list of the dealers, or at least the table numbers, the sections. And if you see something you like, take a note on it. Just jot it down on the map. So then if you do your circuit and go, you know what, that card, it's on my list, that was the card I want, I'm going to go back and get it now, you remember where it is. So I did that myself. I took 2 notes of dealers that I spotted, cards I was probably going to get if I couldn't find anything spectacular. If you watch my video, beginning of this year, I talked about my New Year's resolutions, my wish list for the year. 2025, I talked about some Grail cards, some stretch goals, some registry sets I wanted to complete. So I wasn't able to find any stretch goals. I brought about $4,200 in cash, and I bought a handful of liquid, graded, high value, relatively high population cards with me. The idea was if I bring my, I brought my Don Mattingly 1984 Topps PSA 10. It's a $1,000 card, but I can get it again if I really need to. And if I found the card, say if I found the Ty Cobb T206 bat off shoulder in a PSA 2 with good color, good registration, good eye appeal, with a $7,000 price tag on it, I can say, hey, I'll give you $4,000 plus a graded card, a graded Don Mattingly plus a graded Cal Ripken rookie, and try to do a cash and trade deal. So that was the idea. I had some ammunition in case I found something spectacular. As I walked the floor, nothing really compelled me. I did find a Ty Cobb at the Just Collect booth, and there was a premium for the back. I wasn't willing to pay the premium. It was a 1.5 with a nice back, good eye appeal, so it was a little out of budget more than I wanted to pay. I didn't want to pay the premium for the back, so I decided against it. There was a couple cards that I found that were what I wanted, but they just didn't quite have the look. And that's the thing with vintage, especially pre-war vintage. Not all PSA 2s look the same. With modern cards, you see a 9, a 10, they all look the same. But a 2 could have a crease in it. It could have a smudge. It could have a tiny little speck on it. There's a lot of variation depending on how old the grade is, but you really got to find the card right for you for vintage. And that brings me to something else, the pricing. The people who stickered their cards, and there were people that didn't sticker their cards, but people who stickered their cards, by and large, they were fair. They were a little bit high, I would say, but I think when a dealer puts a sticker on it, it's a starting point for negotiation. You don't have to pay it, but if card's listed at $1,000, you walk up to the guy like I did. I'll show you a card in a minute. Stick it at $1,000. You know what your comps are. You do your research. You know exactly what you're looking for and what it's worth. You know the card is worth $1,000. It's marked at 1,000. I offer the guy 950. He says yes. He would have done that the whole time. He would have taken the 1,000, but I offered the 950, and he took it. So know your prices, know your comps, so that you're not blind and you don't just trust the dealers. If you have your phone with you, you could look up comps, but that's a little annoying. You might not have Wi-Fi at the time. What I did notice, one thing before I get into the cards that I picked up, a lot of kids at the show, a lot of kids. There was a lot of Philadelphia Eagles fans, which didn't make me feel very comfortable as a Giants fan, but there was a lot of kids there. I mean, tons of kids. Kids with Pelican cases, Zion cases, with some bangers, some big money cards, making sales and trades. It was really cool to see family there. A lot of babies. I mean, little kids. I mean, it was wild to see 10-year-olds with Zion cases and kids there for Pokemon. It was really cool. I actually had one good interaction with the family. There was a kid he had to be 10, 12 years old, and he was actually selling cards to Santiago Sports Cards out in Jersey. Had a booth set up. They were filming, and this kid was wheeling and dealing with Santiago's table, and I was watching him because I had some cards to sell myself. And there was an older gentleman who I found out was his grandfather. So we're watching this kid do his deal, and I say to the grandfather, "Oh man, he's the real deal. This is pretty cool." He goes, "Yeah, that's my grandson. My wife passed away a few years ago, and I never passed up an opportunity to spend time with my grandkids, and he likes baseball cards. So we come out to the show. I don't care what it costs. We just want to spend time together, because I know it's not going to last forever." And the guy was wearing a Mets jacket. That's the key to the story. The guy was wearing a Mets jacket. And I said, "Wow, man, that's really cool, man. I really appreciate that. You really get it, It's about family and passing this on and spending time like I did with my own father, like I hope to do with my own son." And he's wearing a Mets jacket. So I say to the guy, I said, "Yo, is your grandson a Mets fan?" He goes, "Oh, yeah, we're Mets fans." So actually, I had a pile of cards that I was looking to sell or trade. And one of them was a Francisco Lindor patch card that I pulled out of 2025 Topps. Real sweet patch, the pinstripe on it. And I went to the grandson. I said, "Buddy, I want you to have this card. You're a Mets fan. I want you to have this card." I just gave it to him. The card might have been worth $10, $15, $20. And they got excited, man. "Oh, Lindor. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I love this player. He's one of my PC guys. Oh, yeah, bro, I want you to have it, dude." Made my day. I actually pulled the guy aside. He's like, "Oh, you shouldn't do this too." I said, "No, man. I'm from New York. You're doing the right thing with your grandson. I really appreciate this. It's really a good thing for the hobby. And not for nothing, you're wearing a Mets jacket in Philadelphia. So I really respect that you deserve something for have that kind of bravery." So that actually, all things considered, that was probably my favorite part of the show, having that interaction with that kid and giving something. So I encourage you to do that too. I encourage you to talk with people, interact, find the human side of people. It's not just a business. It's about people. And now I'm going to flip the camera around. I'm going to show you my pickups. So sit tight. All right. So the first card up here, 1969 Nolan Ryan Topps, and a PSA 7. And it's a new label. Look at that serial number. Look at the sticker there. So when it's a new label, as we all know from grading, they are strict. But use that to your advantage if you're buying raw, especially raw vintage. You know how strict they are. How was that a 7? If it was an old label, this I would believe this would be a 9 if it was an old label. But new label, new standards. They're definitely tough. And this is a 7, so well centered. No print spots in the purple field there. Clean image, good registration. I'll take it, man, all day. That's a beautiful 7, and this is going to go in my Nolan Ryan Topps registry. This is his first card by himself. There he is in the New York Mets, the Miracle Mets, 1969. Later this year, they would go on to win the title. Nolan Ryan was a part of that team. And this is, I need one more card to complete the entire PSA registry of Nolan Ryan's Topps cards. So this is a big piece. I just need one more card, and I was very excited to pick this one up, and it's a beautiful example. I've looked at different examples on eBay for a long time now, and it's hard to find one with a clean image. So this is a beautiful, beautiful image. And a 7, that was a deal. As I mentioned, he had a sticker of 1,000 on it. I went right up to him, I said $950 cash, and he took it. So really, really happy to pick that one up. And I talked about in my goal video, one thing I wanted to collect was T206 Hall of Famers. I couldn't afford them in high grade, but they're not that expensive other than the Plank and the Wagner. You can get a lot of the Hall of Famers in low grade for $200, $300, depending on the back, of course. But so I picked up 4 different T206 Hall of Famers in PSA slabs, low-ish grades. I got some notes about these players here in case you're not familiar. So the first one here, Hugh Duffy. He's a Hall of Famer, inducted in 1945 by one of the committees. Career batting average of 326, 2293 hits. He's got the most home runs and RBIs in the decade of the 1890s. So it wasn't a big number, but at the time he was definitely prolific. 1894, he had the Triple Crown. In 125 games, he had 18 home runs, which led the league, 145 ribbies, and a 440 batting average on 234 hits. A 440 batting average is the single-season record in the major leagues. Still stands to this day. Very unlikely to get beat. 440 batting average in 1894. That is unreal. So good career as a player, and then he went on to manage. Duffy himself was scouted out by Cap Anson, another Hall of Famer, legend in the game. I said Duffy went on to go manage the Red Sox in 1921, and eventually transitioned to be a scout. And not only did he scout out a young Ted Williams, he mentored Ted Williams, being that he was a 400 hitter. He mentored Ted Williams and was noted as instrumental in Ted Williams' development as a hitter. So he's definitely a piece of game. And this particular card, T206, they had 17 different backs. This is an American Beauty, no border. So not a very common back. Not super rare, but not very common. So there is a premium on this for sure. They don't sell a lot. It's a PSA 3 American Beauty back. They don't sell a lot, but this card is close to $1,000 card because of the combination of the Hall of Famer, the grade, the eye appeal, the centering, and the rare back. So that's a beautiful card. Very happy to get that. Next card up. Next Hall of Famer for T206, Chief Bender, legitimate Native American, 212 career wins, 3-time World Series champ, threw a no-hitter in 1910. He was a pitcher around the same time as Christy Mathewson, so it's kind of, it's unfortunate. He won 3 World Series championships, but he got knocked out in the National League Championship Series by Christy Mathewson's New York Giants. Later that year, Christy Mathewson himself went on to pitch 3 shutouts in that World Series over 6 days. So the competition was high. There wasn't a lot of teams back then, but Bender was one of the best pitchers of that generation. This is the version with the trees in the background. There's also one with just an empty field. This is a 3, and it's an old 3. And I don't know if you can tell, there's some wrinkles down here, but I don't think this would get a 3 today. But if you can't see it on the camera, it ain't that bad, right? Good eye appeal, good registration, nice colors, good centering. A 3, very nice card. Very happy to have that one. Oh, and that's a Piedmont back. That is a very common back. Next card, 3-finger Mordecai Brown. He's called 3 Fingers because he got mangled by farm equipment when he was a kid. Was missing half his index finger, and his middle finger was all mangled. But he turned that disability into an advantage. He started to throw with that, his hand was kind of like this. He was missing most of that first finger. He ended up developing what we now know as a knuckle curve. And the thing dropped like a rock, and nobody ever seen anything like that before. Career 239 wins against 130 losses, a 2.06 ERA with 1,375 strikeouts, 2-time World Series champ, 3-finger Mordecai Brown, and a 2, but look at that color. Look at the registration and look at that color. This particular dealer had multiples of some of these cards, and when I compared this 2 to some of the other Mordecai Browns in 3s and 4s, this color jumped. I mean, it's eye appeal all day. And you will pay up for good eye appeal in pre-war vintage. So it's a 2, but you're going to pay PSA 3 prices. But look at that image. That is awesome. That's a sweet cat back. Again, pretty common. And the last T206, Huey Jennings in a PSA 4 with a polar bear back. Huey Jennings is a lunatic. He's awesome. He has the single season record of being hit by a pitch, 1896. He got hit 51 times. He has the career hit by pitch record. In a career, 287 times. He's a two-time World Series champ as a manager, 1,184 wins with both Detroit and the New York Giants for 2 years. 1,184 wins is a record for Detroit managers up until Sparky Anderson came through. He did have 18 years as a player, 312 career batting average, 1,526 hits. But you look at what he's doing here. He's got both hands in the air. He's got his right knee up in the air, and he's smiling like crazy. He was known as Yah for his antics. He would stand in the third base coaching box, and he would just taunt and whistle and howl and throw his arms up in the air and jump up and down like a lunatic and go, Yah, just to try to distract the other players. He was an absolute character back in the time when, this wasn't on TV. This was men in suits coming to the game, and it was a show. And that's his T206 with absolutely beautiful centering. Great eye appeal. That scratch is on the slab, not the card. Again, it's an old slab, but what a card. And polar bear back, look how clean that background is. That's a PSA 4. It has a beautiful 4. Again, this card, based on the eye appeal, you're going to overpay based on the comps, but it's hard to comp these cards. Rare backs, uncommon backs, they don't have a lot of sales. So the last sale might be in 2022. It's not relevant. One thing, I'll just grab all these 4 cards together. They're PSA slabs, Hall of Famers, and 4 different backs. That's pretty cool, I think. My intention, it's hard to collect all the backs. Some of them are super rare. There are 17 altogether, plus the Ty Cobb back, which only exists in a Ty Cobb, which is unattainable. But there are 16 normal backs. My goal is to collect all 72 Hall of Famers in PSA slabs, and over the time, try to collect all 16 backs. Hopefully the lower end Hall of Famers I can get in the more rare backs, because I'm not going to shoot for a Ty Cobb and an Uzit back or something. That would be hundreds of thousands of dollars. But hopefully I can get them the lower level, you can say, Hall of Famers. But they're all awesome. The colors on these look beautiful. They present really well together. That was my Philly show experience. I would definitely go back. It was a long drive, about 3 hours, but great dealers, great people, very clean, very organized, family friendly. The Philadelphia Eagles team was there signing autographs, the World Series champs. Made me a little uncomfortable when the crowds chanted E-A-G-L-E. Yeah, but I picked up some awesome cards for my PC, Nolan Ryan, for my registry, and I was super excited. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know your experience at the Philly show if you went. Maybe I'll go to White Plains on the 22nd. We got to see. I'm all tapped out with cash because I pretty much blew through all my cash here. But definitely love this stuff. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoy the pickups and the review of the show. And I'll see you guys next time. Later.